koutou, a very, very warm welcome to this, which is our first ever podcast for our beautiful Porirua East project. I'm here with my gorgeous colleague Alex, and I'll get you to introduce yourself.
Kia ora everyone, my name's Alex Hines and I'm a kindergarten teacher working in the Porirua East area, and I've had the privilege of working with Dr. Anita Mortlock on projects that we've had going for about 5 years.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yes, so thank you for having us today in your space.
Fantastic. Do you want to tell us a little bit about the projects that we've been working on?
Sure. Well, there's been two projects, and the first project was a teacher-led innovation that was involved teachers in early childhoods and primary schools across Porirua East through the Porirua East Kahui Ako, working together on better understanding how children are expressing themselves and how we are responding to that. And that was a really bold project, and that finished, and we decided that there was more work to be done, looking at some depth, looking at some areas in depth, particularly around how well are we listening? What are we listening for with
Mhm.
children? So we've spent the past 2 years working with some incredible teachers across kindergartens in Porirua East, and on basically on how do children express themselves and how do we respond to that better in a broad sense.
Nice. Yeah, that's a nice summary. Excellent.
Thank you.
So, in this podcast, we are talking about an activity that we've just done. And in this activity, we each had a small piece of paper and we started a drawing. And then after a few minutes, we rotated it to the person next to us and we kept going around the circle, adding to each other's drawings until everybody had contributed something on every single drawing. And then we stopped and we wanted to have a look at what we saw in front of us. So this is us talking about the different things that we see, the symbolism, sometimes the intent that we put into the pictures, and yeah, the reason why we're wanting you to listen to this is we've got a few ideas, and Alex has got a really good way of putting it. Alex, what were you thinking about when we were thinking about what people we wanted people to get out of this podcast?
I was thinking along the lines of exploring worldviews.
Mm.
And when you listen to what the different kayako are saying, what might be their world view? What can you listen for quite hard around that?
Yeah, it's exciting, exciting
Mhm.
stuff.
What were you thinking, Anita?
I think that's absolutely right. And, listening to more than just what's obviously on the surface too. Hey,
Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. Because the dynamic itself, I think, tells us quite a bit about this group also.
It sure does.
Excellent.
And the other thing to consider is the space that they're in.
Mm.
How are people given time to express in the way that they need to communicate what's important to them?
Yeah, absolutely. So, without further ado, let's listen to these incredible kayako. Alex and I will see you at the end of the podcast where we'll do a quick roundup and share some of our impressions with you also. So, we'll look forward to seeing you then. Let's just do a quick description of what you started off with, and then we'll open it up to see what then arose for all of us. Yeah. So, who would like to start us off? Yeah.
Me.
Well done, John.
Get it out of the way before I overthink it.
Nice.
So initially, I was trying to I wanted to do like a draft of a flower and to see what everyone would do with it as it's been around.
Mhm.
And I think I achieved what I was aiming for. But it was really cool when you've got like different aspects of what everyone was thinking at the time once they received my circle. So lovely, very colourful, very bright, and very dark at the same time.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah, very cool.
Thank you.
Anybody else got anything that they want to add with this one that we've all contributed to?
I love the way each petal is telling a story.
Yeah, petal.
I love how one of them's blank, and the blank spaces and the coloured spaces. Is blank tells a story and colour tells a story too.
Like positive and negative.
Yeah.
I was also thinking too, we've got the petals and we've also got the background as well. And it makes me kind of think of, the petals being like the interactions that we have and how they're so woven into the environment too.
Yeah, that was exactly what I was going for. Thank you. Oh,
I
that's
just
lovely.
put
Thank you
this-
for seeing. Yeah.
What I was trying to do in my little addition was create the kind of, it's not just a single petal, that there's, that, so it's it was my attempt at shadowing kind of, layers behind the
Oh,
leaf,
nice.
so that it's essentially your, historical stuff. Like,
Yeah.
coming from behind.
So it's like the child and everything they bring with them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Cool. Thank you. Yes, that's me.
Beautiful. Are you happy to keep going around the circle this way? Or go the other direction this time?
You going, Ethan?
So this is my starting point, the one that I started, and I started off with this little kind of fuzzy shape here. And I think when I started off, I was just thinking of, just this sort of spark of something, a starting point, there's that. Yeah, that was really. But I'm really interested in how it's evolved. Yeah, it's like having a sun and a moon.
Yeah.
I really loved that, that spark thing. So I was trying to create another spark there, trying to get the idea that, that there's the kind of the multiplicity of stuff in everyone. But yeah,
Oh, beautiful.
my copying is not quite. But just the pattern in that is beautiful.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
This one's very elemental for me. What about you?
It's like a map.
And it changes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Very nice.
yeah, it does. Yeah.
You know which way you're looking.
I saw something quite stormy underneath. Which is also an ocean.
Nice. Thank you.
So this was the one I started, and I just draw it according to where my hands top me. So I often draw spirals. If I'm drawing something, it's just how my hand goes, and with colours, and I mean nothing really other than that probably means something that I haven't figured out yet. But I love how the sections have come out, and to me, I look like that, and there's a whole heap of stories that have got their own reasons behind them, and that's the starter. It's not necessarily the heart. So that's the start for a whole lot of stories. That's how I read it anyway.
Cool. Yeah. Okay, so I realised after when we started this that I hadn't shared something that was probably a really important thing to have shared. I just went straight into work, which is not a good thing. So it's about whānau, actually. So because my daughter's getting married on Sunday, and hopefully, if the storm doesn't happen or ceases, it will be on top of the cliff at Titahi Bay, and she's very determined that she wants to do it at Titahi Bay because I've just moved there and she loves it, and so there's a party at her house afterwards. So it's a really simple affair, but it's been quite, I think more simple is sometimes more complicated. So there's a complication around it, but so it started with like one frond, and then I thought, all the other fronds around that are helping in this process, and then of course it's extended to all the other fronds, are growing, I guess, two families coming together, and yeah, and then some nice representation of the sea, I think, and yeah, so fitted quite nicely in the way in which everyone added to that. Yeah, so pretty cool.
And I just realised we didn't open it up to the group for Alex's. And has anyone got anything to say about Michelle? And then we'll track back to Alex. Oh, what Michelle has just said. Can you hold the picture up again, Michelle?
Oh.
Yeah. Anybody got anything to add to that?
it's going to end in butterflies.
I'm so pleased because she's pretty depressed at the moment about it. But you know, she got COVID. Just kind of finished yesterday. Her sister's got COVID.
Oh, and it's getting
She's
closer and
in
closer.
Australia at the moment on a holiday. She'll be okay. We think when she gets back, this got any right, she has to come. And my son is suddenly not feeling too well, although he's tested, he's okay. So there's a lot of dramas going on, but in the end, I keep saying it will be butterflies. It's okay. It's going to be great.
I
There's
just
something magical in a storm on top of Titahi Bay anyway.
And when I think about that from a kind of like this kind of big picture of this, I feel like the focus of this project being about people engaging with each other and engaging with life. Actually, it isn't all better,
Easy.
yeah, no.
It needs to have
What
to
the
store.
phrases?
Yeah.
Something in roses?
Yeah.
Or whatever that phrase
Yeah.
word is. That there, that actually there's always some hiccups and some, like the discontinuities that happen as you work through stuff. So, and as that's evolved, I can feel that that's a little bit of tumultuousness coming through.
Yeah.
But when I added the more of those fronts, it was thinking that actually this is not just about like it wasn't about an individual unit because that
Yeah.
was clear there. But I was just thought there's all these other
Yeah.
yeah.
But Cherish will know Lydia. Lydia was born the second year I was principal at Portali. So
Right.
she used to come with me to class. And
Oh,
we
right.
sometimes had to teach in the immersion class because could never get relievers. And Cherish would have been about 1995. And so, yeah, so you've got a connection there too with Portali.
It's giving me magic orb vibes.
Yeah.
It's showing you it's going to happen.
Love it. Love it.
Those colourful, powerful peaks.
Let's track back to Alex and open that up to the group and then we'll go to Lynn.
Oh, excuse me.
Well, can I fess up? I need to put a stick. You just turn it down here. Because when I first saw that, I thought of a lollipop. I need to stop thinking so literally. So then I thought, no, I don't want to just pass it on. Here's a lollipop. So I drew the other line. Because I didn't, I guess I thought it as an eye as well, looking out. So that's where those lines were originally a lollipop stick.
I really like those lollipops. I
Yeah,
still
me too.
do.
Beautiful girl.
I haven't bought one since I was a child, but I actually like those. Oh, so good on you, Michelle.
I really liked your avocado about, all the different stories that it will tell.
Yeah.
Mine's trying to depict the different elements of the world, just the different stories, different ways, different influences upon us all,
Yeah.
so.
I like
But I didn't sort of see it as that when I first got it. I was like, oh, a triangle to colour in.
that.
Yeah. But I liked what you said, everything has a start. And then you go from, and story develops from there, right?
That's how I saw it when I looked.
How there's different ways of reading it because you can start at the centre and go out, go around,
Yeah.
either direction.
Like I see it as quite segmented because it's in segments, but your one, when you were turning yours from here, I was like, I could see different. So each time you turned it, sort of told a different thing in my life.
I thought of a pinwheel when I saw it.
Oh,
Spin it around.
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
So I added some colour.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you.
Helen, let's go to you.
When I first started it off, I just did that kind of pattern, where the lines intersect and stuff, because that's something I do at D with to colour in, you know, some shading. But then at the same time, I did 4 because I was representing the kids and thinking about how each of them are different. So some of them are a bit wider, some are a bit tightly wound. Some of them, are, you know, yeah. So each of the kids, and then and the different colours, and just left it open, and then just shaded a few areas. But I like the way everyone's kind of like found their own little space in there. So kind of just tried to keep it free flowing, so it was quite open. They found their own little spaces to just put bits and pieces in there.
The colours stand out for me because there's lots of different colours on there.
And I think sometimes when you do that kind of, you know, where you get a blank piece of paper and you just do lines across and lines across, that's what it does. It opens it up to that colouring, colours and stuff.
It reminds me of, you know, the work, but this is just before we just started with us, Shay and John, but we did some work on flow and Jackson Mahai's work on flow. It reminds me a little bit of those conversations that we
that's
had
true, right?
today.
And when I looked at it, I saw quite a lot of balance with it, in the sense that while the lines appear that they might not necessarily have that, when I looked at what people had added to it, I could see a lot of balance, and so it was quite centering, if that makes any sense. Yeah,
So cool.
And when I saw it, I felt like it was moving, like the spirals are all moving together. So
If you spin it, they spin it and it turns into that kind of colour. Wheel.
For some reason, I can see like the illustrations in Dr. Seuss books when I look at it. Like it's like, yeah. It's just,
Yeah, because he always had like the wave thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
I love Dr. Seuss.
I love Dr.
So mine, of course, I always have to have a story. So I started out with the power shower first. So I love the colours of a power shower. That's so beautiful. So I needed to get pink and I needed to get a red because I knew I was going to do a power shower today. And I just love how it's kind of come back with, you know, very, I don't know, this appears to be like the weather and the, you know, the lightning, you know, I sort of see that. And then when I saw these knives, I was like, no, I want to take knives off. My life doesn't have knives. But I thought, no, actually, we don't always have pretty hearts and loving things happen. Sometimes we do have the harder stuff happen. So I thought that's good. It gives it a balance of the lightning, the good times, the love hearts, our different ways, because we're not all the same shape and colour and ways of being. Yeah, that's what I find.
So I drew the knives, and at first I was thinking about faith and protection. So I was kind of thinking about the crucifix at first, and then it changed into swords
Like
for
this.
protection. So yeah, it was just don't know where that came from. Maybe it was all the beauty and all that. I needed something
Yeah,
a bit darker in there and something for protection.
Sure.
I love that.
That was really poignant for me seeing that because, you know, coming from a military family, and I have a father who's a military symbolist. And so one of the things we've actually been taught is the downturned knife, or downturned sword, I should say, is really significant because what it is it's honouring our capacity to, you know, wield our will in the world. But when it's downturned, it means we're aware of that power, but we come in peace. So it's being used, you know, it's not, so it's holding on to that power,
Right.
but in a peaceful way. If the sword is depicted upright, it means I'm using that power to come and get you.
Yeah,
Interesting.
I'm
Yeah.
coming for you, eh?
Yeah. But that's actually weirdly a peaceable.
when it came to me, I don't know why, but I thought of ahika,
Oh, yeah.
the fire. So I drew the top part, the koru, and well, it was supposed to be branches, like a branch to represent growth.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought that'd be cool to add. But then now seeing it again, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it does. It really adds to the picture. I really love how each little bit really adds to it. It's like, oh, that's kind of cool.
I was also thinking too about how you can take something and put it in different contexts as well, and how it changes it. You know, and so I was thinking, is this PowerShell in the ocean, or is it like when we take it from the ocean, we put it in our garden or on our shelf or whatever, so we could admire its beauty from home. Excuse me. And how it changes it a little bit somehow.
Mine was the jagged, and that was a bit like the juxtaposition of smooth, the calm, the and that actually, you know, interaction and engagement and growth and whatever is sometimes a bit spiky, but yeah, it's beautiful.
Thank you. I love it.
Beautiful. Hey, we'll keep going around and then we'll come back to
Yep, that's fine. Sorry about that, you guys.
Mine, I started with these crosses, and I think my thinking was a whāriki and like the stitching, but I think I actually probably just did these crosses because you can't go wrong. Because art really stresses me out for some reason. Like, I don't know. So I was like, I can't really go wrong with these. I can just make some shit up and say it's some stitching or something.
He wasn't.
That was mine. And then these, I really like this kind of thing. Like, to me, it's like different mental states. Like, you kind of like, when you're all over the place, you go a bit wavy and things get a bit harder, and you kind of like really zen. That's how I see this around.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Cool. Do you know it's interesting you say that, Shay? Because I did the one that you've described as Zen. And I looked and thought, this is amazing. I need some peace in here. And that's what
Yeah, that's right.
I just scribble with feelings. That's what I do. But yeah, that was in my head too, to kind of give another degree to the stories that were in there.
Yeah, and when I got it, because there was only the small space left, and I did the star with you are, and then the star, and then above it Keikone, here I am, and just all my mental elements. It's like, here I am, this is the way I am. It's like, ooh.
Did the zigzags, the one down the bottom, that one there.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And then I thought, do I have enough time to add colour? And yeah, I didn't. About halfway, and I was like, I'm trying to pull it on before I pass away.
Bloody life's like that from time to
Yeah.
time.
That's right. Yes,
Yeah.
forever possibilities.
Yeah. That's nice.
Yeah.
Oh, me again. Oh, okay.
Oh wait, no, it's
We're
me.
going to Linda now.
Start for me.
No,
Okay.
that's right.
So I started with trying to depict. Sorry, turn it around so you can see it. I was thinking about the eye and the heart. That when we talked about the whakamana being the heart of the eyes. Yeah. Anyway, wrong. I've said some magnificent thing about that. And but of course my eyes are not the way I wanted them to be. But anyway, but it was like here's the eye, but it's connected. It's the heart and the eye are woven together. And so then that was and it's gone from there. It actually looks much better than what I was trying to do. But yeah, so there we go.
So it's an eye. It started out.
Well, this is an eye, yeah, and really, I because as I said, Isabel is amazing at drawing eyes, and she does the sideways ones and she does the up ones and she does them with stuff in them so that they look really expressive. But because that's what I wanted, but what I ended up with something that looks like because she puts eyelashes in and I didn't know where they but anyway, so there's various versions of eyes in all of mine, because really that's been my theme of the coming coming through that.
Mm.
Yeah, so that's the eye, and then the heart coming attached to that. But you see, this is all the stuff around it is all the
I saw it as a bug.
connections and things. What did you see it
I
as?
saw it as a bug.
A bug.
I am beetle.
I noticed some of them look like spiders, and as I said, some of them look like sperm. Yeah. So really, it was a great idea, but shit application.
I love bugs. So
Well,
I
yeah,
loved it.
yeah. Anyway, yeah.
I've got
So there you go. Look, it could
butterflies
be.
enjoyed it.
It looks like a stingray now.
I thought of love when I saw it.
Yeah,
Did
me
you?
too.
Nice.
Big heart.
So that's kind of it was that. Yeah. Anyway.
And for me, I just saw so many textures.
Yeah.
Lovely, so many textures.
And lots and lots of detail that when I sat and I really looked very hard, not necessarily to figure out what I was going to do, but because it was so interesting. I want to have a little bit more look.
Study.
And I saw love in there too, so I just drew some more hearts, just softly, because I spent quite a bit of time looking at it.
Kind of fundamental. It's demental, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, it tells the story that it's not always straightforward.
Yeah.
It doesn't always make sense.
Yeah.
It's something that
Yeah.
that you feel. So.
Yeah.
They are fantastic and they are so insightful and incredibly funny. They're such an interesting group. And
Yep.
Yeah.
So when you opened up this podcast, you mentioned worldviews, and just a little bit of a rundown on worldviews, just in case anyone is unfamiliar with the concept of worldviews and would like to learn a little bit more. Basically, the idea of worldviews was first coined by Edmund Husserl right back in the 1920s at some point. And it's just this idea that every individual person will possess a life world that is different to another person's. And so this life world will color how we perceive our experiences, how we live, and in fact, how we even sense the different environments around us. So not just the physical environment, but also the social environment and the understanding that we bring to that. Then later on, Habermas did a lot of work building on Husserl's theory, and he came up with this theory that our worldviews can actually be colonized, and this is quite an important point for us. And when we listen to future podcasts, that's an idea that's going to come up a lot, I feel. What about you? Do you think that's going to come up?
I absolutely agree. I think
Yeah.
that's in terms of worldviews and colonization, particularly in Aotearoa, it absolutely sits at the forefront of anything really. So throughout all of our work, we needed to consider that as an influencing factor on how we might perceive what we're listening to.
Absolutely, absolutely. And another thing that Habermas stated was that our worldviews, as part of this colonization process, they can also be governed by structure, and the structure determines how much agency a person has. And I don't know about you, Alex, but like in listening to this podcast, there's a real sense there that people are coming with different degrees of confidence or efficacy about the modality for communication, which originally was drawing, and then moving into talking about the drawing. That we had the statement there from one of the kayako, art really stresses me out. And so right there you can kind of see that as a mode of communication, the structure of that might have given this kayako a lot less agency than, say, someone who was really confident in their drawing. And there's a few things like, Lynn saying my eyes are not the way I wanted them to be. So you could see that her way of communicating actually didn't come out the way that she wanted it to. And of
That's
course,
right. And those structures that sat around how we experienced art in a slightly formal sense influence what we may express and also what may provide barriers to expression.
oh, that's true. That's
But even
really
when I
true.
listen for that, both the teachers that struggled with the idea that things wouldn't be quite perfect was supported by the group to talk. And
Mm,
so they had
mm.
fluency, and agency was developed by the relationships they had with the other participants. So it's something that can be, if not overcome, can be eased. What do you think, Anita?
You know, I think that's true, and I feel like you're really picking up on something there because the trust in this group is very high, and there's also an acceptance. I feel that diversity is actually desirable, and you know, we've got these beautiful comments such as we are not the same shape and color, or you know, that gorgeous conversation about the knives, which you know,
Oh,
in early
yes,
or swords, which isn't something that we would typically see in early childhood necessarily from Kako in terms of their own drawings, perhaps, you know,
e-
knives amongst the love hearts.
exactly. But when Maria talked about that, she
Mm,
was able to express her rationale and her thinking, going, actually, this is appropriate for what I'm doing. And it was her way of expressing an amazing idea.
mm. Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And you know, the other thing that I thought was really lovely, I guess, too, is um this idea, I can't remember who it was, but someone said blank tells a story and
Mm,
color tells a story.
mm,
And so it's sort of this reminder that in our differences and the different ways that we communicate, it's not just the words or the nonverbal communication in terms of gestures and facial you know, facial expression. Sometimes it's the silences as well that make up the expression. It's the blank spaces too.
absolutely. And the blank spaces are not without something in it.
Mm,
If you think
mm-hmm.
of like tu lava
Mm,
from us,
yeah.
they're what's inside that space, and do we tap into our sensory understandings enough to pick up messages
Mm,
from that? What are we seeing? Because if you think of our children have different ways of expressing themselves,
yeah.
with words in English, with words in different languages,
Mm,
with gestures, with um, even just emitting a sense of something, because that's emotive communication. So
mm,
what are we looking at?
yeah, yeah. And in fact, if we follow your line of thinking there, which I think is an excellent line, the other thing too is that of course the communication isn't happening in a bubble. It's you know, this dance between one
Oh,
person and another. And you know what we see in our
yes,
pictures is we might start down one track, but then as the next person jumps in, it goes down a completely different route. And then what we end up with is something that the original person would not have created by themselves and could not have created by themselves.
absolutely. And the joy that was expressed when you started a drawing and the finished product with everyone's contribution,
Mm,
you thought just gave everybody a sense of well-being. I could
mm,
feel it.
mm.
We can't convey that through a podcast, but we certainly can in feeling
Yeah.
of the pleasure. And so those drawings are beautiful, and throughout the podcast you might see some of those drawings pop up.
That's a good idea.
Mm,
So, like, what if I'm hearing what you're saying is, you know, within this idea of embracing a multiplicity
mm,
of worldviews, we actually need to have at the very core of it trusting, solid relationships that are predicated on deep listening,
mm.
deep interest and curiosity about the other and about differences that the other brings, and even a delight in those differences.
An absolute delight in those differences is a lovely thing to hold within yourself as well,
Mm.
and being open to hear things that might challenge your own conditioning.
Beautiful. And in that way, we all grow.
We totally do. And like, I think of what John said there that's really stuck in my mind. It's not always straightforward, and it doesn't always make sense.
Mm,
And sometimes it's okay to sit with that not making sense.
absolutely. And the other thing that he brought into was it's something that you feel. And
Absolutely.
I like that as well because, you know, sometimes what we bring into a worldview isn't rational, it isn't always conscious, but it is something that's very much in us, you know, and that we feel as well.
That's right.
Mm,
And, throughout the project, we're privileged to hear a range of people's worldviews
mm.
and consider within that perhaps one culture's worldviews have multiple interpretations of what that might look like.
Absolutely. And Lynn made that beautiful comment too. What you intended isn't necessarily what was understood. And so if we can hold that as a question, as kayako, isn't, the question isn't so much what am I understanding? It's like, what is the child wanting me to understand? Am I understanding what it is that they want me to understand? And how do I know?
That's absolutely critical, Nita, isn't it? That's a critical part of this project.
Mm. So, yeah, we are looking forward to sharing future podcasts with you. Um, Anything else that you would like to say, Alex, before we wind up?
No. Thank you for tuning in, and I look forward to sharing some more of this wonderful work with you in the next upcoming podcasts.
Beautiful. Ka kite anō.
Ka kite.